Flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Reverend, would you please lead us in our invocation?
Let's pray. God, we give you thanks just for gathering us again here today. We thank you for all those that work at Campbell and are with the students and in the athletic department. We give you thanks for the coach here today. We thank you also for the food that we ate, and be with us in our conversation now. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Kiwanis is a global organization of volunteers dedicated to improving the world, one child and one community at a time. Have a seat, please. I want to welcome everybody here today. I wanted to introduce my guest, Mr. Bobby Beasley, who is a dear friend and a great neighbor. Let's give Bobby a good Kiwanis welcome. Thank you for being here, Bobby. This is a special treat. We've got a very dynamic speaker and coach as our guest today, and I'm going to recognize Harold Butts if he will introduce our speaker.
As most of you have met Mike before when he spoke, and as he has, coach is in his 9th year, right? As head coach for Campbell University, a 10-year Carolina Panthers standout player, took them to the 2003 Super Bowl, and broke his foot in the third quarter, played right on to the end of it with 18 tackles. And set his record there. And with that, I give you Mike and let him have this time.
Coach, you get wherever you want to be, whatever you're comfortable, okay? As long as it's inside here.
Stay inside.
Okay. All right, let me get over here. Let's get a hold. He's move over here. Have at it.
They're going to give you the middle of the thing.
Well, first of all, let me say thank you again for inviting me to this great organization. And it's not taken lightly when people give her their time, their talents, and their treasure to help other people. Because really, at the end of the day, that's really why we're here. Right? Good Lord, give us our stuff to be able to give back to other people. And that's really what it's all about. So again, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Butts, for inviting me again. Well, it's been kind of crazy in football as you look at college athletics. The NFL makes so much money, they was able to overcome COVID. And, only certain teams was able to overcome COVID in 2020. And so we was able to play 4 games. So I look back on that experience and I say, it's some good stuff and some bad stuff. Because after 2019, we was kind of heading this way, even though it was our second year in scholarship football. And so when 2020 hits, we thinking this is the time for us to take that next step into winning the conference championship and getting to the NCAA playoffs. And then 2020 hit, and so we have no games. And we one of the first or the only team to decide to play 4 FBS games in 2020. And why did I do that, right? So I'm looking at it and I'm saying, I'm a marketing guy. I understand the person with the camera and the person with the pen is the person who get everybody else to think the way they want them to think. And so I said, well, let's get on TV. So we had an opportunity to get on ESPN 4 weeks in a row. So we played 4 FBS teams in 21 days. So it was a big challenge. The first one we almost won. We took them down to the last play, and I decided to go for 2 opposed to go to overtime. So a rule of thumb, if you the weaker team, you go for 2 to win the game right away, because you most likely not going to win it in overtime if the team is better than you, right? And so nobody was expecting it. We got a penalty, so what happened is we scored a touchdown, we down 1, we're going for 2, and the refs never restarted the play clock. And so all of a sudden, we like getting ready to line up to run the play, and they throw a flag. Hold up, man, you didn't, because we trying to get the ball spot. We wanted the ball spotted at a certain spot. And so they threw the flag, we backed up 5 yards, and went to another play that we didn't practice for that position, right? And, we overthrew the guy. So we go through them 4 games, and at the time we get a lot of recognition. But what we started to realize is you learn how to lose. And that's a real thing, right? And then we come into 2021 and we ready. We like, okay, this team is ready to go. And we start out really good. Starting quarterback gets hurt. So at the time, we 3-1 at the time, and looking pretty good to go ahead. And so he gets hurt. We win the next 2, and then the second string quarterback get hurt, and then I got my third string in. Played good for a third string quarterback in the FCS. He played really strong. We lost all those games, the last 5 games, by 1 score in each game with the third quarterback. So coming into 22, I'm feeling pretty good about football team because everybody come back. Yeah. So what changed everything? And you guys in business, you know that you always got to be going forward. And so we playing JMU. This is the first time that I get a chance to see in real life a championship football team in FCS. Now, I've seen them on film, but that's one thing. To see them up live and close and personal is another thing. And it's hard to compare FCS teams to FBS teams. It's very difficult. And so when we play them FBS teams, we thinking we pretty close, right? Like we hanging in there with these guys, and then we play JMU. And after 4 hours of that game, I saw everything that we was missing as an organization. From the coaches to the support staff, to the players, to everything. So as I'm watching this unfold, from the time we get there on the bus to the time we get back on the bus and leave, I'm watching everything. I said, okay, that's what we need. So the first step I did is I got rid of some coaches because they wasn't ready. They couldn't take me or us where we wanted to go, and that's a championship. And I saw that with JMU. So he said, Coach, how do you see that? Okay, everything that I thought JMU should do, they did it right away. Everything that I thought we should do, we was like 7 plays behind. And at that point, I knew I got to make a change. Now, that's difficult because a lot of these guys been with me the whole time. And so how do you separate relationship from dreams and visions? How do you separate relationship from being able to get the job done? It's a tough situation. But that's why they pay the head coach the big bucks. He got to make those. He got to make those decisions. I remember bringing them in and having that conversation with each one of these guys that have helped me build this program up to where it's at now. And that was tough, but it was needed. They understood. Didn't like it, but understood. And so my goal and my number one goal was to go find guys, and I'm talking about coaches, that have been at the big stage. I need you to be at the big stage because my vision is so big for this university. I need somebody that have been there so it doesn't scare them. Well, my old coaches kind of scared. Coach, what? Yeah, man, we're going to go win all the games. We're going to go win the championship. let's go do it. And that just wasn't in their mindset. So when you're picking people, the vision of what you're doing, they got to be able to live and see that too. And so I went out and got a lot of guys that played in the league. You know, if it's 2 weeks or 10 years, you understand what it takes at the big stage. And so as we filled out the offensive staff and some of the defensive staff, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Second thing I wanted to do is get personnel. I'm talking about football players. And I said, I got to go get some dudes that understand how to play the game and understand how to play it at a high level. And so I told my guys we're going to be the #1 recruiting class out there. From a 3-18 to the #1 recruiting class. That doesn't happen. Let's go do it. And I'm here to stand before you guys today to let you know that we are the #1 recruiting class in the country. And that's what we decided to do. We put our mind to it, and the coaches that I had began to say, yeah, let's go do it. And we did it. Okay. Yes. Good job. Which was fun, which was a lot of work, but it was definitely worth it. I think ESPN will be the last big network that do a big story on us about that recruiting class. So we had 2 of them go out there. One of the biggest North Carolina networks did a big article. Football Scoop, which is the biggest football thing. If you're a coach, you're going to be on that website. They just put theirs out today, and I think ESPN will be coming out in the next couple of days, right? So this is what I'm telling my staff. Okay, guys, the stage is set. Everybody watching, everybody's listening, everybody want to know, can you develop these players to become championship caliber football team? And that's our mission this year in 22. Our mission is to get these young men in here and begin to integrate them into our culture and then develop their skills so we can go do what we need to do in 22. Now the crazy thing is that our conference, the Big South, if you guys follow football, right now is in disarray. So we don't really know what's going to go on. 2 of our teams left, Monmouth and Hampton. They left and went to the CAA. Probably the conference of FCS, just like the SEC in big time football, right? Big time conference. And so we got 5 teams. You got to have 6 to get the automatic bid in the playoffs. So we're trying to add 1 more team. Now on top of that, while we're trying to add 1 more team, the CAA is not done. Now they're knocking at A&T door. A&T come over here with us, and so they trying to poach A&T. At that moment, I think, I don't know, I think the Big South wouldn't have a chance with just 4 teams. And so we kind of in this, you know, this limbo mode right now, trying to wait and see what happens. So this is where we at. And, you know, we got a heck of a football team. We got some heck of players that come here, you know. And so I want you guys to be excited about 22 because you're going to see some really, really, really good football. I got some really, really good coaches to come in here to help us do what we need to do. So we can have Bowie's Creek, you know, rocking in November, and it's a playoff game that we hosted here at home, right? That's the vision, that's the goal, and that's what we shoot for. I tell people this all the time though. They say, Coach, why you stay at Campbell so long? Right? You could be in the NFL coaching, you could be at big time football coaching, FBS, go back to Nebraska. Trust me, I'm getting all these calls all the time. But it's a reason. I said when I wanted to get into coaching, I told the good Lord, I said, look, I want to take over the worst team in college football. And at the time, in 2012, it was Campbell University. But I've never been part of a team, playing or coaching. I coached Little League, I coached high school, I coached junior high, I done coached it all. I've never been part of a team that have never won a championship. And so my job is not done until we win a championship at Campbell University. They said, man, but that 9 years, I said, I don't look at it like that. When I took it, we had no scholarships. So the first job at hand is to get scholarships. So we was able to get scholarships in 5 years. The next one was to recruit. Be number one in the country in recruiting. We just hit that. Now it's time to win a championship. Okay? It takes time and it takes steps to get what you want in life. And patient man always get what he wants. And so that's where we at this year in 22. We're gonna shock a lot of people with this football team. Okay, so that's us in a nutshell of what we look like right now and where we going. Any questions?
Coach, what are your most fertile recruiting areas geographically?
Yeah.
I know you do pretty well in state.
Yes.
But, how about like Virginia and South Carolina?
So this year, Virginia was really big for us. We got like 7 guys that were 3 stars in the state of Virginia this year. Like you get one and then you're gonna get the rest of them. So that was good. Florida is probably the biggest state. We get a lot of kids from Florida. We do well there. And you know, as y'all know, it's a lot of talent in the state of Florida. So you know, Georgia is the next one. So it'll probably go Florida, Georgia, Virginia. It's probably out of state what you're looking at.
How about Detroit?
We got a kid from Detroit, right? I don't think Arkansas was happy about that, but yeah, we got a kid from Detroit who was a 4-star who was committed to Arkansas for over a year or so, and we got word that he wasn't happy with the new DB coach that came in, and so I said, well, let's call him and get him here to Bowie's Creek. And my coach was like, I can get him here. I said, well, you get him here, I promise you I'll close him. And we got him here, and he signed with Campbell University. Now, this is what happens when somebody goes from the SEC to an FCS team that nobody heard of other than in this area, right? They start throwing out stories like, oh man, he must have killed somebody, you know, or he must have did this, so he must have did that. And so the stories was out. And after he did that, I mean, but that's normally what happens when you decide to do that. And it's all about relationships. That's really what it was.
Well, most of these recruits that you bring in, are they either transfers or freshmen?
Oh, these are freshmen. So everybody I'm talking about right now are freshmen, you know. So rated, you know, they had FBS offers all over the country. And I think what helped us was the portal. See, because a lot of these teams are going to the portal now and leaving these high school kids out there.
But
Right?
is it gonna be hard to win the games you wanna win with freshmen?
Okay, so I'm glad you said that. We not done just with freshmen, right? Because we didn't have some transfers too. So we got transfer from Arkansas. we just keep on messing with Arkansas. We got a transfer from Iowa State. You know, our kid that transferred out, Caleb Sneed, right? So 6'4" receiver, went to Liberty, went back home for his last year. We got a kid that replaced him. Now he's 6'5", a little bit faster, and he can, you know, played at FBS Iowa State. So we got him coming in. So, and then we got about 5 JUCO kids that's coming in as an offensive lineman. Okay, so you got some experience along with some youth. But what I can say is this: a 4-star or 5-star FBS guy is way better than any college kid that's already been there, right? Like on the FCS level, it's just amazing. So we're gonna have a mixture of everything, and we're not gonna. Hey, look, we're not gonna redshirt nobody. Everybody get a chance to play, and we're gonna put this team together. You know that's gonna help. So great question.
What schools are you trying to recruit to the Big South?
Right now we're looking at Bryan, yes. That's the one school I've heard that's pretty close to saying yes. So that's it. Probably Central, maybe Central, NC Central. Even though they're on our schedule this year, we play them. They might be a team that we'll try to go get.
Yeah, I thought Central would be ideal.
Yeah.
And try and keep A&T.
That's right. Trying to keep A&T. Yeah, that's a big must in our conference.
Any other questions for the coach?
Yeah, I know your focus is Campbell, and I appreciate that. But I am such a fanboy. I just want to know what thoughts you might have about Sam Mills being named.
Oh man, I was very emotional about that. Of course, Sam Mills played with me his last year, and then coached, until he passed away. So he was one of my coaches for 3 to 4 years. So very, very close to Sam. So I was very happy to see him finally inducted into the Hall of Fame. Well deserved, without a doubt.
You mentioned first section quarterbacks. So how are they now?
Well, they coming back from Hodge, which is our starting quarterback, tore his ankle up, and so he had to have that same ankle surgery that Tua had. So he had to have that one. So he's in rehab mode right now. So he'll be fine for the season. Won't do much in spring ball, but he'll be fine. And then Wiley, who's our second string quarterback, he got to be fine and went to play baseball for us. So he's a 2-sport guy. He a pitcher. And last week, first pitch, tore his elbow up.
Tommy John.
Yes. I'm like, So I won't have him next year. But we got a 4-star who was committed to Florida State quarterback, and we got him to flip over to us, and so he's a heck of a football player. So I think we're gonna be all right once the season starts, because he'll come in late too, and then we'll have Hodge, him, and our 3rd-string quarterback kind of compete. But he's the real deal. Like, he's better than Hodge was in high school, of course. I mean, Florida kid that's won the state championship as a quarterback. So,
Coach, tell us about the upgrade recently in the last few years of your facilities.
yes, sir.
And what you see on the horizon.
Absolutely. The last thing that we did was redo the locker room, and it's state of the art, right? It's one of the best locker rooms out there. I don't care what level you're talking about, but that should happen because you just did it, right? So your stuff should be better than everybody else's. So the locker room just got done. The one thing that we need is an athletic training facility. Our athletic room is like this big, no joke, right? And you got over 135 kids trying to go in there and get treatment. It's very difficult. So this is the one thing that we got to do, is we got to build a building where the athletic training room will be, right? Weight room, state of the art. Football stadium, state of the art. Everything is there but the athletic training room. Well, that's the most important thing when you talk about football, getting people back healthy, okay? And that's the last thing that we focusing on is making that happen.
Where is that proposed to be?
So two places. One is the side, where let's say the field house, you got the field house, you got the stadium, in between the stadium and the field house. So you know where the, weight room went, on that side, we wanna mirror it on the other side, right? So that's one proposed, spot. The other proposed spot is to, expand a little bit more in the building we in and expand out, and that'll give us some space. And then the other one is to take it across the street and build it right there. So, yeah, exactly. That's the three proposed locations of what we talking about. But when, you get that, then, I mean, you shooting up to the next level.
Do you have any idea whenever this is gonna come about, the new building?
Well, I'm hoping and praying that it start this year. Okay, this is my hope and prayer is that happens. So, cause it needs to, it needs to start right now, right? And so, the new athletic director, he works a little bit different than, our old athletic director. Our old athletic, that building probably would have been up 3 days ago, so, it's, he trying to learn the process. And so, hopefully it gets started this year. So anytime y'all see him, y'all just, that building getting done. Yeah. Well, again, I appreciate you guys. I got to get back to work and keep on working to try to get us to that championship. So I appreciate your time and everything else. God bless you. And I'll see you around. All right?
Thank you so much. Little something for your collection at home.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
it. Yes, sir.
Yes. You got it? You
Yes,
get it
sir.
with the cup?
I got Johnny, good.
Come on, Johnny.
Good job, boys. Good job. Thank you.
Anything else for the Lillington Kiwanis?
Thank you, guys.
Bobby, thank you for being here. Anything else?